Hello dear students of BA B.Ed 6th semester. Today I am going to talk on Nadine Gordimer's My Son story. Already I have posted a PPT in the group. I have also shared the novel in the PD format, and I have also posted a video which is a conversation with Nadine Gordimer, and it has been conducted by Rajiv Mehrotra. I'm sure you must have gone through the PPT and you must have gone through the interview of Nadine Gordimer also. I do not know how much you could read of the novel. So what I thought was that my PPT was quite brief and I would like to talk more about Nadine. I would also like to talk about the apartheid in Africa and of course the novel, which is My Son's story. Now let me start with Nadine Gordimer. As you all know that she is a very famous South African writer and she got the Nobel Prize also in the year 1991, and she is a white. Though a white in South Africa, you must have realized that her sympathies were with the black. There were many incidents in her life which show her journey towards being a writer, and in her interview also she shares her evolution as a writer. Though she was born in a South African family and was in a privileged position, but she could realize the discrimination against the blacks. Even in her childhood, when they had a black maid, she talks about an incident which shook her even as a child, that this maid, one day there was a bit of noise and the police troubled the maid. They used to have passbooks and she had some problem with certain documents and with certain things. They were searching this maid for certain things because like something like liquor and all and other things. But the maid was troubled by the police, and though there wasn't much harm, but what surprised Nadine was that her parents did not say a single word to the police. There was no support towards this maid, and the girl looked upon the maid more like a family member because her parents were not discriminating against the maid. And that really hurt her, and that really made her think a lot about what was happening. Another thing to consider is that though Nadine went to a very good school and received good education, but because of her health conditions, she was asked by her mother not to go to school. And she had to spend a lot of time at home, and she received education at home. But this gave her an opportunity to read a lot, and she read many books. Even later in her interview, she says that a writer should read a lot, and she continuously emphasizes on read, read and read. And that is required to shape the mind of a writer. However, she started writing at a very young age. Even when she had not moved into her teens, writing came to her at that stage. And then she got an opportunity to go to the university. And she talks about that time which she spent in the university with fondness. She says that very few blacks were privileged to do courses in the university. And there were some courses, there were some universities for the blacks and there weren't some courses there. And so very few blacks came to these universities where they could pursue some courses. And she felt that she could align herself more with these young blacks rather than the young whites. They were more observant, more sensitive, more sympathetic, and above all, these were the blacks who were also having the talent for writing. And that created a kind of a bondage, and that made Nadine come closer to them. And so, though she was a white, she could connect more with the blacks, because often there is a charge that those who are the oppressed understand the pain more rather than those who oppress. But Nadine, though she was a white, She was not an oppressor. She belonged to a privileged position, no doubt. But her parents had no role because they were not connected with the government. They were not in the role of dominating over the blacks. So she had a very healthy atmosphere that way, and she felt that she could understand the plight of the blacks. She also came into contact with many blacks and the South Africans who had returned back from the war, and she came to know many things about South Africa from those who were outside the country and how the people outside her country were talking about when it came to Africa. So that was an eye-opener for her, and that is how we see her journey in becoming a writer, how her sensibilities are being shaped, how she's becoming more aware, how her own observation, how her own feelings, how her own awareness as far as the apartheid in South Africa is concerned shapes her and makes her into the writer we all know, and the glowing tributes the other writers and people paid to her when she got the Nobel. Another thing to know is that though she was a white, but because she got into touch with many of the black writers, and some of her white friends were also sympathetic towards the blacks and their cause, and she got in touch with journalists, with publishers, with activists, and she also got into touch with the African National Congress, which was there under the leadership of Nelson Mandela. Now let me tell you that when it comes to apartheid also, the movement started in 1948, because prior to that Africa was the rainbow nation where people of all color were living in harmony with each other. It was like a rainbow. But after 1948, when the National Party, which was of the whites, when they started ruling over the country, then it were they who came up with these discriminatory laws. And the word apartheid means in Africa now, it means apart, means segregation. So what happened was that there were three kinds of groups. One, the real blacks, another, the mixed breeds, who were known as the colored, and there were other, the blacks or the people from other countries like the Indians. So they were made to stay in places which were slightly, in a very disadvantaged position. The whites were living in posh areas and localities, and the blacks were not allowed, or the other three groups were not allowed to live there. And they had, an environment which had just the basic facilities. And the place where the real blacks were living were worse. So they were the ghettos, and they had very minimal facilities. Now the whites used to call these real blacks for certain menial works. They needed domestic servants, they needed drivers, they needed gardeners. So they had to allow them to come to do all those kinds of work. For that there were the passbooks. So they were carrying the passes. They were like identity cards. They had to carry it with them. And without which they were not allowed to enter the area where the whites were living. And those were the, prestigious locations. They had cinema halls, they had restaurants, malls, everything. But the people of the other three groups were deprived of all this. They were only allowed to go out on a Saturday to the white area for a short time with their passbooks, and they could buy certain things which they required. That way we can see even the kind of schools their children were sent to, the kind of education which they had an exposure to was of a low kind. And Afrikaans was their mother tongue, and they were the African medium schools where English was there, but then it was more like, you can say, the regional medium schools in our country. And so they even used a term, rubbish education. They were not given good quality education. Even their teachers who were teaching were not that qualified. Then, for certain kinds of jobs with a similar qualification, a white would be better paid rather than a black or a real black or a colored. So there was clear-cut discrimination, and there was a lot of exploitation. And after a time, this novel, if you see, that is My Son's Story, it is placed in a time period which is ranging from the decade of the 1960s to 80s and onwards. So we see what happens. That was the time, around that time Nelson Mandela was very active as a leader, and his speeches were organizing the blacks, and they were agitating. But of course Mandela was very much influenced by Mahatma Gandhi. Even in her interview, as you must have noted, Nadine has a lot of respect for Mahatma Gandhi, and she says that he had a very strong influence on Nelson Mandela. And even she mentions that Mahatma Gandhi was there in South Africa also. So she recalls all that period, you know. And then comes a time when Nelson Mandela is imprisoned, and he is sent for trial. And that was the time that Nadine also joined the African National Congress, and she became actively involved. And she was in touch with the lawyers of Nelson Mandela, and even his speech which he gives in the court in the trial, that was also written and modified by Nadine Gordimer. And she was quite close to Nelson Mandela, and she kept in touch with him even when he was. So you see, if you understand the history of South Africa, you will realize that what was happening all around Nadine shaped her writing. And now let me come when we are talking about the apartheid, we realize that initially they started with non-violence, but later they realized that they would not succeed with that. So they started protesting. There were riots, they took out guns, they were throwing stones, and obviously the police was after them, and there was lot of killings. And so there was that Soweto movement, and there the police killed almost around 700 people, and that was a big number. So day by day the agitation grew. The movement gained pace, and they were and some leaders went into exile. Many were imprisoned. So I believe now you can connect back to India, how we were involved in our freedom movement. So there was a similarity along those lines if you look at the conditions of India and Africa. Then of course, after a long struggle, it was also to be noted that to a certain point the world did not intervene. Nadine mentions in her interview that so much exploitation, oppression was going on in South Africa, but there was not much interference from America and other countries. And of course Britain would not allow to meet their leaders, their people, because they were ruling there. So what happened was that they were not getting the support of other countries. So when the writers, whether it was Nadine who was writing or other black writers who were writing, they were trying to reach out not only to the people in their country by writing, but they also wanted to communicate with the world across. But it was very difficult. You can see that there was a lot of risk, there was a lot of fear, and they were trying to communicate with the world around. But many a times when their novels or their works were banned, then it became all the more difficult. But it is quite interesting, for you all to know that in due course of time, Nadine's works were acknowledged as great and as a contribution towards humanity and the social cause in South Africa. And she was given the Nobel, but she was not given this respect during the time of the movement in her own country, because it was the white regime in power. Okay, so we see that she was very bold. She took a lot of risk, and she even mentions in one of her interviews that they were also using theatre to connect with the black people. And there was, at a point of time, even her own house was used as a shelter for some of the leaders. So her husband and her family played a lot of role, and they were actively engaged in the activities of the movement. So if we look at her as a writer and then as a political activist, so naturally the themes of her novels are very, very strongly connected with apartheid. Another thing for you to understand is, when I'm giving this historical background, please don't be mistaken that My Son's Story is a historical novel. No, it has all the imaginary characters. Only the situations are real. They are as they really happened in Africa. So neither is it an autobiographical novel, neither it is a historical novel. It is a novel which is connected with social realism. The real life in society in Africa is depicted in her novel, and that is what you need to understand. We all know that in due course of time, Africa succeeded, the African National Congress succeeded, and Botha, the president of the white regime, had to resign, and later Nelson Mandela was released and he became the president of South Africa. And he was very much interested in meeting Nadine Gordimer. She was the first person he wanted to meet. He was very proud that her contribution had been recognized by giving her the Nobel Prize. And so we see her journey, and we also see the journey of apartheid and the movement in South Africa. Now let us come to the novel, which is My Son's Story. And there are different characters here, and the protagonist is, of course, Sonny, though the story is told by his son, that is Will. But the story is more about the father. Though it is My Son's Story, the son is Will and the father is Sonny. Now Sonny is a school teacher, and we are given his background that he's from the colored. That means it's a mixed race, neither pure black nor white. Okay, so his family, they were comprising of the menial laborers, and his father, later his condition improved and he became a garage owner. But Sonny was the first in his family to get the school education, and he was very good in his studies. So later he got a job in his own school. And then he got a very beautiful wife, and the name of his wife is Ayla. And Ayla was also one who was educated. She too had a school education. And gradually they worked together to come up with a family. And the first child was a girl who was Baby, and named as Baby. And the second child is Will, who is 2 or 3 years younger to Baby. And his name, Will, is a short form of William. Now you should know that Sonny was very fond of reading, and Shakespeare was his favorite writer. He had many good books at his place, and so Will is the short form of William, the William Shakespeare. Okay, so that way if you look at, so somewhere even later in the story, Sonny says that my son is going to become a writer. So somewhere he is very fond of writers. There were other books in his family, like he read Kafka and others. And time passes, moves ahead, and they are quite satisfied as a couple with their children. Though it is a very average house in which they are living with the basic facilities, but they are quite happy. And he's a very dedicated teacher. He looks after the students. He has many new ideas. He tells his school principal to organize parent-teachers meeting. He gets involved with the Rotary clubs, and he wants to arrange certain programs for the benefit of the students. So that way time passes, and he's quite happy and satisfied. And an outing on Saturday, and celebrating Christmas and other festivals, having some fairs and circus, and gradually they also improve their financial conditions. They purchase some furniture and other things, and they have a small library in their home, and they are quite happy and satisfied. There are some of his cousins who are involved with this activities, the movement and the against and the resistant movement. And they want to talk to Sonny, but somehow he's not taking interest. So they leave him to his fate, and they think that he's the government's man and he's enjoying certain privileges, which of course weren't many. His condition is more or less like them. But he's satisfied with his life, with his earning, with his family. However, things take a turn. And what happens is that an incident takes place in the real black school community, and a small boy, a black boy, is killed. He had protested with the seniors and he's killed by the police, and this boy's photo is in the newspaper. And that influences the children in his own school. And they also start protesting, and they take up stones. And it is at this juncture that Sony says that he will take care of the students and he will convince them not to throw stones. And he tells them, I'll take you to the real black area. We will show our solidarity. And he convinces, and he takes them there also. But another incident happens, and some students from his school burn a bus. And the police takes them away. And it is at that time that Sony again intervenes, and he wants to support and save them. And it is at this time that the parents of other children say that they don't want such a teacher in the school. And he is there he's a very good orator, he delivers very good speeches, and when he visits the police station, naturally the police notes down his name, and he now becomes a public figure, and the resistance movement and the activists, they take note of his abilities and they involve him. Meanwhile, what happens, Sony realizes that things are taking a turn and it's becoming a little risky. Nevertheless, he continues doing what he wants to do, and his sympathies are with the students who are suffering, and this is the time when he loses his job. And this is also a time when he is now involved by the movement, the people who are agitating against the whites, and people who are connected with the African National Congress, the protesters. And they want to use him, and they ask him to write speeches, and they ask him to deliver speeches, and they suggest to him that now we are going to shift you to an area in the whites. Of course, it's not the area of the very privileged white, it's still the whites who are less privileged. And so he moves from that segregated area, and he comes to the comparatively better area. The house is bigger, and his children now have entered their teens. His daughter is attending dancing classes, his son is into scouts, and he has plans that his daughter, who wants to be a doctor, will become a doctor. His son, he thinks, will become a writer, because the children are also good in studies. Now what happens is that he's also provided a job by the movement, by his organization, and things change. Now they have people coming to their home, meetings are held, and things take a very different direction. His family members, that is his wife Ayla, his daughter, his son, they are not able to understand and cooperate and support him the way he wants. And the police is trying to find some or the other excuse, and a situation arises and they arrest him. And he is detained and kept in the prison. Only his wife can see him initially, then sometimes his children, and now everybody is disturbed. So his family life is now disturbed. His wife, because she is educated, she takes up a job. His daughter also starts working along with her studies. And there is a trial, and this is the time when a white woman enters. And one thing which I missed telling you is that there was a rule that there could not be marriages between the whites and the blacks, or there could not even be any relationships between the whites and the blacks. Now this lady who comes and visits Sony in the prison is Hannah Plowman. She is a member of a human rights organization, which is an international one. And they are there to come and help him in the defense. And she comes, she visits, she tries to understand his case. They have a code language, they are talking in code languages. With great difficulty, Sony picks up the code language. She goes and visits his home. And there she is very much influenced by the atmosphere in his family. She likes Ayla, the beautiful wife of Sony. and her daughter and the son, and she's impressed with the collection of books in his family and the food which they offer to him. And they tell him that they don't need any money or support because Ayla is already earning, the house is already there, the daughter is earning, and they can support the school education of Will. So she comes back, and when he's in the prison, gradually his case is taken up and there is the trial. And there the judge announces the sentence, and that is for imprisonment for 5 years. They again appeal to another judge, and this is reduced to 2 years. Now when he is in the prison, his children come to meet him, his wife comes to meet him, his daughter is crying, and naturally he is disturbed by seeing all that. His son is worried, and he gives tips to his son how to carry on his studies and all. And his wife is also there, but his wife is not very expressive, and she's not able to really express her emotions and support him the way he wanted. On the other hand, the white woman Hannah is more articulate, and she's more supportive. She's even there to support his daughter when the baby is crying. And gradually we find that as time passes, and he asked his wife to write letters to him, and there is Hannah also writing letters to him, and he is gradually getting more and more attracted towards Hannah. Then the 2 years pass, he comes back to his family, but now this is the time that he gets to meet Hannah more often. They go to coffee houses, they move out, and gradually a relationship develops between the two, and they are more there as lovers. And the wife and the son and the daughter do not know. Those of you who must have gone through the novel or must be going through it must have noticed that the novel opens with Will. And Will says that how he discovered his father. He was to write his school exams, but he bunks the school and he wants to visit the White Cinema Hall and see a movie. And there he discovers that once the show gets over and he's waiting for his show to start, he sees that his father is coming out with this white woman, which is Hannah, and that disturbs him. Though they meet, they are embarrassed, he goes back home. He doesn't reveal the secret to his mother because he too would have been caught that how he was there. But gradually the relationship between Sonny and Hannah develops further, and that disturbs the family all the more. And the police notices him with Hannah. Their photos are taken out. When they go out, the police takes their photos and they don't mind it. Even the organization notices what is happening between Hannah and Sonny, but they are somewhere connected by a common cause. Now we see that Will is not liking the relationship of his father with the white woman. Now there is another incident which takes place, and this is a very important phase in the novel, which is the graveyard ceremony. There is an agitation and there 9 people are killed, and they are allowed to conduct the last rites, but there is a rule that the people will not be conducting anything which is going to create an agitation. The police is there, and the priest is there to conduct the ceremony, but Sonny is given a chance to deliver an important speech on the occasion. And when they go there, then people are getting very much emotional. People are placing the flowers on the graves of these 9 dead people. The priest conducts the ceremony, chants the prayers, after which Sonny delivers the speech. After the speech, there are some people who want to sing some songs, but they are not allowed to do so. But some people start getting out of control, and these are the agitators, and they start with the slogans, and they start taking the name of Mandela, and a kind of a agitation. Before it stirs up, the police starts with the tear gas, and bullets are shot, and a person, one of the comrades, he just gets injured, and one bullet nearly passes and Mrs. Hannah. And Sonny, he's supposed to be there to support the comrade, but he wants to save the life of Hannah. And he manages to take Hannah out to his car. And from there we find that there is a deterioration which starts taking place. And gradually his role becomes less and less in the organization. Now baby, the daughter, she's so disturbed that once she tries to attempt suicide. She cuts the veins of her hand, and somehow her life is saved. And the doctor to where Ayla was working saves the life of baby. And this also disturbs Sonny a lot. And baby is now a college-going girl. She has her boyfriends. She is... and many of them are involved with this movement. And after a time, baby manages to go to Lusaka, and she joins the revolutionary group there. And her mother Ayla also, under some pretext or the other, wants to visit her daughter. She manages to get a passport, whereas Sonny is denied the passport, and things become very troublesome. Meanwhile, what happens that once Ayla comes back and she tells that her daughter has got married, and as time is passing, the daughter is going to deliver a baby also. And gradually there is improvement in the life of Will. He performs very well and passes the school exam with distinction. He enters the university. He chooses the commerce stream, and he wants a reward. And somewhere Sonny wants to take his son into confidence also, and he wants that whenever he is away, he should know what is happening in the family, because he's also worried with what is happening day by day. And he gives a motorcycle to his son, and the son wants him to spend some money so that he can spend a week outside, and he has an enjoyable trip outside. Gradually the son gets involved with a girl who is known as the little girl. She too is a computer operator, and the mother gets to know about this relationship. She likes the girl, and she comes back after a time, and she brings she doesn't want Sonny to tell people that her daughter is married, because the person she is married is also an activist. But she shows the picture of the little baby to her husband and her son, Will. And time is passing, and gradually, to cut the story short, let me dwell more on the important portions. We realize that Hannah gradually she has to go to Lesotho because her grandfather's condition is serious, and so she goes out, and Sonny is very much disturbed, and he is more and more involved in his relationship with Hannah. And the son is more and more involved with his affair with the little girl, and the mother is spending more time with her daughter because she has to attend to the little baby, and time is passing on. And when Ayla is away, the son, her husband and her son are involved with their love affairs. Now what happens is that a time comes when Hannah is asked, she is offered a very high position in another organization, and she has to accept it. And here an incident happens that when Ayla comes back, the police visits their home, and they accuse Ayla of keeping certain objectionable items in the house. And both Sonny and Will think that Ayla is unnecessarily being trapped, and maybe somebody wants to harm Sonny and has already hidden these things there. But gradually what comes as a shock to both the son and that is Will and Sonny, is that Ayla was really involved with the revolutionary group when she was in Lusaka, and she had allowed certain peoples to visit the house and to keep these items, which even have certain grenades and other things. And now she is kept in the prison, and Sonny and Will are very worried, and they want to do everything to bail her out. They try to take the help of Hannah, and now gradually Hannah is moved away, though she tries to provide some help. And the organization is supporting Ayla more now, and they somehow manage to give the money, and Ayla gets the bail. and while she is in the bail, she explains certain things to them, and later she manages to jump the bail. That means she manages to leave the country, and they do not know where she is. She's moving from one country to another, and sometimes some calls come, but it's very difficult because there's an eye on both Sonny and Will. And now there comes a time when the whites are throwing stones at their home, and after a time when they reach their home, a dead cat's body is tied to the gate, and they say, "Away with this communist black bitch," and all those kind of slogans and placards are there. And so it is very, very difficult and risky to live in that house. And Sonny is expecting to be detained and caught by the police anytime. In between, he is expected to visit Lusaka also. He comes back and he has a audio recording of his grandson, and that is baby's son. He shows to Will. Somehow the father and the son come closer because now there is no Hannah and no Isla, and baby too is far. And at a point of time, we find that their house has been burnt. And it is a very devastating experience in their life. And it is at this time that Sonny comes up with a very, very important speech. And he says that they may burn their houses, but they cannot burn the fire which is inside them. And we find that again, Sonny is getting detained, and Will is moves into another relationship. He's reflecting more and more on what is happening. And gradually, as the novel comes to a close, he understands his role as a writer, and he realizes that he has really now is into the process of writing, of achieving what his father wanted him to achieve, that is to become a writer. But it is an open-ended novel. We do not know what will happen further in the story. So this is my son's story, and because this book was brought out in 1990, and that was the time when the movement was at its peak, and Africa had not got its freedom, and so we do not know actually what she had in her mind, and what kind of a vision she wants to give in this novel. But we know that the entire family of Sonny, he, his wife, his daughter, his son, all have moved into an active role when it comes to the resistance towards the whites, and they of course pay a big price for it. But as I told you, that the novel has an open end. And with this, I would like to say that we'll continue with another video where I will be talking about the themes, and after that video we'll be talking about the characters. Like that, I will be posting different videos, and this one I wanted to focus on Nadine the writer. I wanted to focus on apartheid, the movement, and of course I wanted to focus on the story. And I think by the time you receive more videos from me, you might have been in a position to read the book, so that when we come to the RTC, I can tell you which pages, which part to focus upon. Thank you very much.